When it comes to love, there's only one thing scarier than going through life and never finding it. One thing more terrifying than the curse of never knowing what it means to love and be loved. That thing being finding love, and then by circumstance, or worse yet, through your own actions, losing it and never finding it again. Cursed to do nothing but long for what once was. Some would have you believe it's better to have and then lose instead of never having at all. But in reality, this will only make your suffering more acute. Now imagine there's only one main component of this imagined love that you care about. That component being physical attraction or youthful vitality. Sex is what drives and motivates and liberates you. It's your drug of choice. Then you age and lose it. Forced to watch as those far younger squander their youth, not seeing their hormone-fueled existence is something they will look back on and envy. The all-encompassing, disastrous fear of losing your ability to love or be loved. A fear of aging beyond the capacity to be loved. And that fear is at the heart of the horror film I want to talk about tonight.
Smiles on those who accept him. Praise his name. Glory be to Jesus.
This video was supposed to be out on the 14th. As it's currently the 14th, as I script this, things did not go according to plan. This Valentine's Day, we're gonna rip out hearts and give the lonely people some relief, as we've delved deep into the horrific events and themes of A24's 2022 slasher horror film, X, brainchild of director Ty West and harbinger of Mia Goth's career breakthrough. At least it was, until she trampled a background actor for no reason, which is never a great career move. Now, I don't want to give away everything that happens in the movie. I want you to watch it. But I will be focusing on certain scenes that set the groundwork for all the thematic exploration that lifts this gore fest from a simple slasher to something much more worth your attention. Video essay time! Feel free to take notes, students. This is gonna be a wild ride. A group of young, idealistic people attempt to film an erotic movie. We have the producer Wayne, a man we kind of know is going to be trouble right from the beginning. Bobby Lynn, a burlesque dancer who starts up a playful romance with Marine Corps veteran Jackson Hole, unfortunate name choice there, who's played by Kid Cudi. The director RJ and his girlfriend Lorraine, and finally Maxine. Wayne has convinced all of these people that making a porno is going to change their lives and make them rich. The director RJ is a weasel who's trying to convince himself that this is going to be a masterful work of art. Early on, when his partner Lorraine sees what type of movie the group is making, she tells him she doesn't want any part of it. Imagine your partner told you that they were making a great work of art and then you showed up to support them and it's this.
Oh my goodness. I'm afraid we don't own a telephone, but would you like to come inside?
It's very important that none of these people, except maybe Wayne and RJ, seem like bad people. They all have redeeming qualities, and very quickly, even though I know they aren't becoming famous, I hope they will. I'm rooting for them. There are a lot of lazy slasher movies that just take terrible people and kill them in fitting ways. But in this story, you can't help but feel sorry for the protagonists as they meet with grisly fates. This phenomenon actually gets more intense later, when we meet the driving force behind much of the doom in this movie, the elderly Pearl. The group passes a cow that's been ripped open by a truck on the side of the road, mirroring the terrible tragedy that is going to come for everyone in this movie, from the sexually liberated film crew to the God-fearing and repressed farmers and country folk. The gang arrive at a farm owned by Howard and Pearl, an elderly couple who have a guest house where they intend to shoot the film. While the couple doesn't immediately like their presence, Wayne has the common sense to lie about what they're actually doing there. Throughout the film, characters start to lose their inhibitions and make more and more horny decisions as the elderly couple, and especially Pearl, start to realize what's going on. While it would have been easy to turn these characters into stereotypes and caricatures like so many other slasher films, especially self-aware ones like this tend to do, Ty West decided to really take his time to flesh out these people and bring them to life. Of course, it helps when Mia Goth is your leading woman playing two complex and in many ways diametrically opposed roles. But the reason this film works so well is the very real and very complex emotional responses from everyone involved. By the end, we are saddened by the demise of even the evil characters, and yet we are satisfied and excited for more, which we would obtain in the form of a sequel called Pearl just a few short months later. The first half of this film is led by an obvious love for cinema, as West references the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Shining, Psycho, and other infamous classic horror movies. The characters often unknowingly make meta commentary about the world they exist in, and some lines feel like we, the audience, are almost getting winked at. The enthusiasm the crew shows in their amateur work continues to make it easy to root for them, all until one pivotal scene that I believe changes the tone of the movie from uneasy to gory, dark, and grim. This scene also starts to highlight the themes of sexual liberation, the cost of beauty, what makes real self-worth, and how your self-worth can be corrupted and your beauty commodified into something far more sinister and exploitive. The characters are sitting in the cabin after a day of shooting and start up a conversation about the morality of what they're filming. If you remember, RJ's girlfriend was never really a fan of the whole go to a cabin in the woods and shoot a porn thing. In fact, she has been against it this entire time. She hasn't participated, nor was she ever supposed to, but her boyfriend joins in with the others, and they start lecturing her on what it means to be liberated. They say there are no boundaries. As long as everything's consensual, it's all just desire. It's a new world far removed from the prudish one they knew as kids, and this new world has something they didn't have before, a certain X factor. They are young and free and alive, so the opportunity must be taken now. Surprisingly, after these speeches conclude, Lorraine reveals that she has actually quite enjoyed watching them make the film and now has decided that she wants to be a part of it.
I want to be in it.
Well, you can't.
Says who?
It's my film, Lorraine. I mean, it wouldn't make any sense. We've already shot half of it. The story can't just suddenly change midway through.
Why?
Because it just isn't done.
What about in Psycho? You love that movie.
Well, Psycho is a horror film. And that plot was a MacGuffin to build suspense. And I'm not making that kind of movie.
RJ tries to tell her that she can't, but gets stopped by the rest of the group. His hypocrisy becomes his downfall, and he must now film the scenes that his girlfriend is participating in. After this scene, the movie turns into a full-on slasher. And to me, it's a pivotal moment of the film. Wayne says that the group's encounters are just business, but Bobby Lynn tells us the truth. It's rooted in fear. One day they will be too old to get it on, so now they should revel in ecstasy instead of, I don't know, forming meaningful and fulfilling relationships. Unless that's your idea of a meaningful and fulfilling relationship, in which case, people can do whatever they want. But like, a lot of the language in this scene feels like justifying a lifestyle that's going to ultimately not bring these people the happiness that they're looking for.
Oh, toast to the perverts. They've been paying our bills for years.
Here, here. To the perverts.
The whole thing is set to a hauntingly hopeful cover of Fleetwood Mac's song Landslide, whose lyrics further play into the overall themes of the film. Well, I've been afraid of changing because I built my life around you, but time makes you bolder, even children get older, and I'm getting older too. The song is about dealing with getting older and being unable to face the changes that go with it, and ultimately, X is about a paralyzing fear of getting old, which, in my opinion, is an immature response that is shared by millions of people, young and old. And it's a huge reason why I think this movie is elevated beyond a typical slasher. The prequel, Pearl, is even better, but we'll get into that more later. Pearl and Maxine are two sides of the same coin, and both end up being sympathetic to the viewer. In a typical film like this, we might conclude that the husband and wife are going to eat their victims, or some other thrillingly gruesome, typically disgusting third act depravity. But instead, Pearl is slowly realizing that doing what the authority figures in her life growing up always told her to do has ended with her true desires being left unfulfilled. And now her jealousy has turned to murderous rage, and she kills young women that she deems to be beautiful in a way that she is not. Meanwhile, Maxine has her whole life ahead of her still, and her mantra, which she repeats throughout the movie, "I will not accept a life I don't deserve," puts her in the exact opposite position.
You're gonna rot when people find out what you've done. I saw what you did in the barn. You end up just like me. I'm nothing like you. I'm a fucking star! I will not accept a life I do not deserve!
I do not deserve!
She's aware of her impending doom, and she's choosing to act on it now while she still can. Even more parallels can be drawn between the characters, like how Maxine also had very fundamentalist authority figures who preached the same messages, but her response was to leave home and go down the path that she's currently on. Another incredibly important point of the movie is how society reacts to sexuality. The whole first act has dozens of spicy scenes with the main cast, but near the end, we get to see Howard and Pearl get it on, despite Howard's insistence that it's not good for his heart. In the last few decades, leaps and bounds have been taken forward in progress when it comes to more healthy attitudes in regards to adult time and safety and consent and, all that good stuff. But the world, by and large, still has a lot of work to do. In screenings of this movie, the audience always reacted with intense disgust when the elderly couple, repressing and vilifying yearning and gratification, especially doing it with this double standard for people with pretty privilege, is what this movie is warning about. It's a unique and also somehow heartwarming story about love and yearning, even as blood flies and alligators feast on the flesh of the unsuspecting. Now, this is likely as far as the writers wanted us to go in terms of finding any sort of higher meaning in this gory slash fest. However, because I am someone who likes to look for the positives in the media that I consume and find messages that could potentially help me in my day-to-day existence, I have one final pretentious insight to arrogantly suppose from the film. My takeaway is that holding on to bitterness and expecting life to never change is inherently immature and is going to make you miserable. Both Pearl and Maxine are reacting out of intense fear instead of simply doing what they want when they can and then moving on to other things. The regret, bitterness, and jealousy could have all been avoided if they had simply applied some clear, level-headed thinking to their lives within the greater context of, the rest of the world. Aging is natural and something that everybody lucky enough to live that long goes through, and this fear of it is stopping these characters from reaching their true potential. So instead of aging gracefully, they end up like this, leaving a trail of blood behind them. And that's that. This channel is a cult. Down below in the comments, I want you making sacrifices. Each like on this video increases the Legion's power, and as you all know, we are Legion. Don't fall into the trap of fearing getting older. Instead, fear becoming a bitter and angry and hateful and jealous person. It will poison your mind, sap your strength, and ruin your life. I'm gonna cover Pearl if this video gets to 3,000 likes, so thanks for watching. Also, I have a Patreon now. I have some friends helping me make the videos, and I would love to be able to pay them, and thanks to Patreon, I will be able to now. So if you like what I do on this channel and want to support me, feel free to join. There's an exclusive Discord server associated with it, and you can have your name at the end credits of the videos as producers. Y'all are producing my videos now. I appreciate it. Hopefully this will reduce the need for sponsored content and whatnot, and allow me to kind of make what I want to make, and also increase the production quality of these videos and all that good stuff. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. See you around.
What do you think is on it?
Well, by the looks of everything, I see one goddamn fucked up horror picture.
This is the first day of my life. Swear I was born right in the doorway. I was caught in the rain, suddenly everything changed. there spreading blankets on the beach. Yours was the first face that I saw. I swear I was blind before I met you.